When today is unpredictable, you need sound advice and strong support to help you stay focused on your long-term financial goals for tomorrow. Together with an advisor from Rise Private Wealth Management, formerly Pell Wealth Partners, a private wealth advisor practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, you can plan your future while navigating your now. Ameriprise Financial has been guiding clients through challenging times for 130 years. You can take comfort in working with a financial advisor who's backed by that strong experience and who's there to guide you with personalized, goal-based financial advice. Call Rise Private Wealth Management today at 914-253-8800. That's 914-253-8800. Office is located at 800 Westchester Avenue, Suite 300 in Rybrook, New York, and 300 East 40th Street, New York City. Not FDIC or NCUA insured. No financial institution guarantee. May lose value. Securities offered by Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC. Member FINRA and SIPC. Welcome to Leadership Unleashed, the show that will explore the multifaceted world of leadership through insightful interviews, thought-provoking discussions, and practical advice from leaders throughout Westchester County and beyond. I'm your host, Dr. Marsha Gordon, President and CEO of the Business Council of Westchester. On today's episode of Leadership Unleashed, we're exploring the Westchester Innovation Network's CityLabs initiative, a collaboration between Iona University, local municipalities, and the Business Council of Westchester that's turning classrooms into real-world problem-solving spaces. As we mark 5 years of the Westchester Innovation Network, which we lovingly call WIN, we're taking a closer look at how this model began, how it's evolved, and how it's helping students directly engage with the challenges facing communities across Westchester, and how it's helping communities across Westchester look at their own growth in very innovative ways. We're so pleased to be joined by Rob Kissner, Clinical Lecturer of Entrepreneurship and AI at Hynes Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Iona University, and Dr. Aakash Sapru, Assistant Professor of Design Thinking and Innovation at Hynes Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Iona University. Together, they've helped shape CityLabs into a hands-on learning experience grounded in entrepreneurship, design thinking, and civic impact. Today, we'll explore how this partnership started, how it has grown across multiple municipalities, how it's preparing students to think critically about the future of work, government, and innovation, especially in an AI-driven world. Before we dive in, we'd also like to thank Westchester Medical Center for their support as the premier sponsor of the Leadership Unleashed podcast.
A lot goes into planning a birthday. For my daughter Cameron, it started with a stem cell transplant to cure her sickle cell disease. Yes, cure. Westchester Medical Center Health Network uses every technology, technique, and talented specialist to conquer diseases that could otherwise rob a child of childhood, helping my daughter and thousands of others at Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. Happy birthday, Cameron.
WMC Health, advancing care here.
Rob and Aakash, welcome to Leadership Unleashed. We're so glad to have you both here with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon.
Thank you so much. Rob, to start us off, can you share a little bit about the genesis of the Westchester Innovation Network, as we say, WIN CityLabs project, and how Iona became involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So design thinking and ideation have been part of the DNA of the Hynes Institute since day one. And we've been teaching students about, understanding stakeholders to solve problems from the very beginning. As a matter of fact, while I was running my business, I got hired as an adjunct to teach the first design thinking class at the Hynes Institute in 2018, so some time ago. And it's always been a really powerful and effective class, but the one thing that's been lacking is, until we started the CityLabs initiative, it was being performed in a vacuum. It was in the classroom and everything was really hypothetical. The problems that students were identifying were really things that they experienced in their own lives. And I think the importance of design thinking is understanding stakeholders beyond oneself. And so in partnering with the Business Council and the Westchester Innovation Network, we started discussing the possibility of bringing the students out of the classroom and out into the community to really understand the local community, understand real problems, and have to solve problems under real world constraints. And so through your leadership and of course our director, Dr. Christoph Winkler, we had put together this framework for the CityLabs project. And the first iteration of this was to partner with the city of Mount Vernon to understand the challenges that women and minority-owned businesses face with government contracting. And that was really how we kicked off the program.
And we've done so many municipalities. I think we're on our 8th municipality now. It's been incredible. It's been incredible. Aakash, building on that, how did the collaboration between WIN and Iona evolve over the years in your eyes?
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that we pride ourselves on, especially at the Hynes Institute, and this happens to be my personal philosophy as well, is that we want for our students to be able to meld theory with practice. That's essential because a lot of entrepreneurship education, a lot of real skill development actually happens outside the classroom. So this is a perfect opportunity. Through CityLabs, our students get exposed to work as consultants. So in a previous career, I was a management consultant myself. So this is my opportunity to show them the ropes, before they enter the formalized workforce, just showing them the ropes. How do you engage with different stakeholders, their different priorities, their different needs. And especially the design thinking aspect is central there because the framework emphasizes on empathy. So being empathetic and placing yourself in the position of the stakeholder. And I think this, through this program, obviously with in your leadership, your collaboration with us, we've had this opportunity to partner with so many communities in the region and really have exposed our students to different kinds of problems that communities face. So it's not just theoretical learning. It's, so first few weeks, we do teach them some theory. And then after that, it's like, okay, now let's start applying this. And we hope these are the skill sets they take with them once they graduate.
And it's been so exciting for us at the Business Council Westchester, and I want to give a shout out also to Luis Aragon, who leads our WIN program and has municipal background and really has brought this together as well with Iona, Dr. Winkler, and yourself, and that when these students walk into a community physically, I remember when they came to Peekskill, which is a little bit further away than New Rochelle and Peekskill, and they came in and they were just capturing the essence of the city and meeting with the mayors and the city councils and the community groups. These are very high-level stakeholders that we're talking about.
Absolutely. And I'll just add to that, going back to my management consulting experience, I was like 23, 24, and I was, supposed to present reports to senior executives, CEOs who were much older than, I'd been alive. So, it can be intimidating. So training our students to gain that confidence, to do the background research, really work hard, and then be in a position wherein whatever the ideas are, they can speak with confidence, but also be open-minded to suggestions because no project is perfect, and especially in design thinking. We create prototypes and that's what we present. So a prototype by definition is a work in progress that has to be iterated, that has to be improved. That's the mindset we are trying to teach our students, that no product is finalized. Yeah,
just to build on that in terms of, putting students in situations where they might at first be a little uncomfortable with some of these stakeholders. And it makes me think of the first iteration of the program when we were in the Mount Vernon City Hall with the mayor and, 8 or 10 MWBEs. And we had all these questions prepped. And I was sort of worried. This was the very first time we had done this. And I was sort of worried that, when it was time for students to stand up in front of the mayor and all these MWBs in the city council chambers, that there was going to be crickets. And like at first, there was maybe a minute of, who was afraid to raise their hand. And then one student got up and that opened the floodgates. And I remember we were, at City Hall for about an hour and a half past the end time of that session because the conversation was so in-depth. It was unbelievable to experience.
It was so great. And the work of the students was so wonderful that we actually wound up at the Business Council of Westchester funding one of those students to complete the project, which was so exciting. And also New Rochelle. I remember being in New Rochelle and putting on those virtual reality to imagine what the city would be like if small businesses were different. Am I remembering it correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were working with the folks over at New Rochelle to really think about how we can use the design thinking process to understand the needs of business owners to help existing businesses grow and attract new businesses to come to New Rochelle. And the city was already doing so many innovative things with the VR headsets to envision the Link project that they're working on. And it was amazing. Same thing. We went to the New Rochelle, City Council, and the mayor was there, and it was just an incredible conversation. And the work that our students did with the city of New Rochelle is ongoing. We have, a whole program in place where we're going to be working with New Rochelle businesses, and
that's incredible.
It's amazing to see the work continue on.
That's really, really exciting. Rob and Aakash, it's been great hearing how those early partnerships and design thinking principles laid the foundation for what CityLabs has become today, a partnership between the Business Council of Westchester, Westchester Innovation Network, and Iona University. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about CityLabs evolving and what makes this program so unique and impactful. You're listening to Leadership Unleashed on the BCW Podcast Network. I'm Marsha Gordon, the President and CEO of the Business Council of Westchester, and we are about to listen to our wonderful, wonderful sponsor, Westchester Medical Center.
This is the coming home you dream about.
But getting here was unimaginable.
At 25 weeks, I was hemorrhaging badly, losing amniotic fluid. Fortunately, I was taken to Westchester Medical Center, where they have the most advanced care in the Hudson Valley for high-risk pregnancies and premature babies. And because we were there, now we're here.
WMC Health, advancing care here.
We are back talking to Rob Kissner, the Clinical Lecturer of Entrepreneurship and AI at the Hynes Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and Aakash Sapru, Assistant Professor of Design Thinking and Innovation at the Hynes Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Iona University. And as we mark 5 years of the Westchester Innovation Network, it's really exciting to dive deeper and bring back some memories of how the CityLab initiative is shaping the future. As tonight, as we speak, we're about to hear from our Sleepy Hollow group that is reporting tonight. So, Aakash, let's talk about examples of this.
Absolutely. So, I have led 5 of these CityLabs projects with my students, and with Sleepy Hollow, we have our final presentation this evening at 5:00, and students will be presenting to the mayor. But generally speaking, across all of these 5 projects, the methodology that has emerged is that students, we first visit a city hall, we talk to the mayor or senior leadership, they share with us the problem that the community is facing. And then in the next few sessions in the classroom, we actually dissect that problem, because oftentimes the problem has to be read between the lines. And we encourage our students to not just take the problem that's given to them at face value, because there could be nuances in the problem itself. So defining the problem is the first step that students take. And oftentimes what emerges is a very different version of the problem that was given to them. So that's where we begin. And after that, I encourage my students to look for similar projects, so similar communities and similar problems that they might have faced, so that we can borrow some of the insights from successful or unsuccessful projects. Once that is done, then we move to primary research, which is creating surveys and conducting interviews. So interviews particularly are very important for students, because it compels them to go outside their comfort zone, go into the community, approach people walking on the streets, approach people in a business establishment, and just strike a conversation with them. That's a dying skill in today's day and age. So, this gives us an opportunity to teach them those skills as well. And in the process, students actually learn that they do have the confidence to approach complete strangers and ask them questions respectfully, and valuing their time and their insights. So once that is done, and this actually happens not just once, at least 2 to 3 times throughout the semester, because that's what design thinking is all about. Like, you do not settle for insights just once. You go back and forth with the community or your customers, whoever your stakeholders are. Once that is done, then students start generating ideas. So these are more conceptual ideas, and then those conceptual ideas are converted into prototypes. So prototypes help us achieve 2 functions. One is communicate our ideas in more tangible form. And then the second one is they help us seek feedback from the community as well. So as an example of a prototype could be a website design, a process design, some AI generated images, things that people can point to that this is the before and this is the after. So this helps us make the conversations more real. And then, generally at this juncture, the CityLabs project ends. But the promise is that if we have more time with the project, the next phase would be now actually implementing those solutions.
That's great.
Yes.
That's really great. And let me ask you both, why are they so important for your students in our local economy? And how do you see this partnership and this working with our communities? We have lots of communities in Westchester to work with still, evolving as we continue.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of Iona's missions is to have students learn outside the lines, get out of the classroom and apply their learning in the real world. And, even though we've done so many iterations of CityLabs with many of the municipalities in Westchester, the world isn't static. The world changes, businesses change, society changes, and I think there will always be problems to solve. And I think it's very helpful for our students to stay relevant in what's going on in the local community. I think it gives them the opportunity to be exposed to many things that are outside of their frame of reference. For example, when we did the project with Mount Vernon, most students did not know what procurement and government contracting was at all. They knew nothing about the process. So outside of the design thinking learning, there was also this incredible exposure to a very core system in our society. And on the flip side, we have these local municipalities getting very fresh perspective, very innovative perspective from these up and coming, very smart, very talented young people. And so I think it's just an incredible symbiotic relationship.
The students that I've had the opportunity to meet very briefly, your students, are absolutely incredible thinkers and wonderful young leaders, and so impressed in how they come in, and then the final presentation, and how they present, and how they own the issues. And some of these issues have been pretty complicated, right? Developing a cultural scene, linking the waterfront to the communities, dealing with some things that parts of the community might not be happy with.
Absolutely. Can I just add one quick thing there? Because you mentioned the waterfront. So at Portchester, that was the project revitalization of the waterfront, and something that we realized when we visited Portchester multiple times was that a lot of community there is Spanish speaking, so that's their first language.
Yes.
So one of the recommendations that we gave to the village manager was that because a lot of community is Spanish speaking, a lot of communication has to be directed in that language as well, alongside English. Now, these are the kinds of insights you can only get when you visit the site multiple times. It cannot happen sitting inside the classroom. So this is why the design thinking framework is so important, right? If you have to reach out to everyone, something as simple as the language of communication and being cognizant of that. That's what the empathy piece is. We are placing ourselves in the shoes of those individuals. So they also those individuals want their community to be revitalized, and they should have a say in how that revitalization happens. But to do that, we have to speak with them in a language that they understand and are more comfortable with. So these are some of the things that emerge from these projects.
And I'm just curious, as professors of these students and working with the communities, how do you guide the students in this design thinking process to approach these issues in the way that you're talking about?
It takes some gentle herding, let's say.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
it requires some shepherding, and I think a big part of this is having the students realize that they have the tools and the skills to walk up to someone on the street and ask them a question, and it takes some very gentle coaxing to get them there. And part of it is, you know, as Aakash mentioned, in the first part of the semester is rooted in the theory. So there's opportunity to sort of practice these skills in sort of safer constraints. And then we start to take off the training wheels, so to speak, and start to, you know, push them through the door and get them outside of their comfort zone.
Well,
I agree. Like, you know, the term that I generally use is, you know, it's creative friction. So the friction part has to be there. That's how learning happens. If it's
love
easy,
that.
probably you're not.
Creative friction.
Yeah,
I love
and
that.
an analogy I give is, you know, if you have to build muscle, you have to visit the gym very often. That's the only way. And for you to develop any skill, you have to put yourself through that activity multiple times. And our job is to direct students, based on our experience. What we do is we direct our students, give them these opportunities to actually engage in, you know, okay, how do you? So I'll give an example. Like, a big part of this project is students approaching individuals and interviewing them. So to prepare them for this, I actually send them outside the class and talk to other students in the very beginning. So that's like a small step that's more manageable, more doable, but that gives them that confidence to eventually then go out and talk to complete strangers. So it's building up to that outcome.
You know, I'm so much enjoying speaking with both of you because you're giving me an overview of something that we've been in the weeds together. But hearing you, how you approach this educational process, and I'm hoping that people that are listening are really understanding what it takes to have an excellent education for themselves, for their family members, for their children, and grandchildren even. And at Iona University, you are such a prime example of the exciting and real world and thoughtful education that you are giving your students. So bravo to you and Dr. Winkler and Iona University for being out in the community and bringing your students out. And looking ahead, how do you both see opportunities to explore the intersection of AI, government, workforce development, and economic innovation through this work?
I think AI presents a tremendous opportunity to continue this incredible partnership because, you know, the vast majority of people, students, adults, businesses, educators, are very confused about what AI is, what it means, how it's going to impact jobs and how we learn and how we do business. And I think this presents a great opportunity to bring students and businesses together to explore these deep questions together.
And the Business Council of Westchester looks forward to continuing the wonderful partnership and expanding the partnership we have with Iona University in creating opportunities and creating the leaders of the future of Westchester County and the region. And Rob, Aakash, thank you for joining us on Leadership Unleashed, for sharing your insights on the CityLabs initiative of the Westchester Innovation Network and the impact that it's having across Westchester. It's really, really inspiring to hear how you've connected students with real-world challenges, fostering innovation, helping to strengthen communities through collaboration and forward-thinking ideas. Thank you again to Westchester Medical Center for their support and to our listeners for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Leadership Unleashed.
Thanks so much. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much.
Be sure to check out the BCW Podcast Network's expansive lineup of shows: Leadership Unleashed, What's Trending, Advocacy and Politics Unplugged, the Member Spotlight, and Nonprofit Voices of Impact. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization focusing on economic development and advocacy. With over 1,100 members, it is our mission to work for the profitability of our members and the prosperity of the Westchester community. To learn more about the Business Council of Westchester, please go to thebcw.org.